Hello, namaste, welcome. I'm Mariana Pachati, an Ayurveda and yoga teacher, and I'm bringing you something very special today, a book I created myself. It is available on Amazon, but we are going to go through it today because the beginning pages are educational. They're guiding you on how to use this journal, and I want to teach you all about that today. So whether you've already purchased it or you are about to purchase it, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. But this is really meant to support you in your life and guide you. And I want you to have the proper training and teaching around how to use it. So maybe you're brand new to Ayurveda, maybe you've already been introduced, maybe you're a healthcare practitioner yourself and you're using this to track your own health patterns, or maybe suggesting it for your clients to help track theirs. It's really important to understand why we track our health patterns. We tend to just go throughout the day on autopilot, right? We understand that when we learn mindfulness and meditation, but we need to take that into account with our experiences with food, with herbs, interactions with people, and everything like that. So when we recognize patterns in our lives, we can do that easily by journaling, by tracking things down, by, sitting down at the end of the day and kind of reviewing what your day was like. So, when it comes to your health patterns and discovering the root cause of maybe an imbalance in your body, a dis-ease, you're gonna have to track. You're gonna have to track your patterns, track what you're doing, track your symptoms to understand the root cause of the imbalance and where it's coming from. And that's what this journal is going to help you discover. So, whether you have an imbalance you're trying to discover already, or you have a goal in mind that you're trying to reach, tracking yourself and what you're eating and drinking, not in a restrictive type of way, but in a very Ayurvedic, knowledgeable type of way, which we're going to understand today. So, the name of the journal is called Ayurvedic Wellness Journal. And on the bottom, it says Discover Your Balance. It did print out in black and white, um, but I did create it in color. So I will somehow print it out in color as well. So there is a little namaste, about me page in the beginning, but how to use this journal. So I'll just read off of there and we'll go through each page together. It's suggesting to leave the journal in the bathroom or bedside for easy access. I say that because we track digestive patterns, your digestion, your elimination, the timing of it, the importance around that is huge according to Ayurveda. Upon awakening, you fill out your self-examination page, which goes over several things like tongue analysis, which I'll teach you. And in this book, it has a little map for you of your tongue, of which area on the tongue is related to which organ, and depending on the texture and the coating and what's happening on the tongue can indicate an imbalance or balance that's happening in that organ. So tongue analysis, pulse analysis, stool urine analysis, gunas to favor, which we will go over, pains and concerns, affirmation mantra, and your morning checklist. So you fill out as well your meal plan for the day. If you're unsure of what you're gonna eat that day, you can kind of just come back at the end of the day, like a nightly review, and just write down what you ate that day. The goal is to track your food, your drinks, your herbs, your medicine, the intake daily to see how it's affecting not just your digestion, but your organs in the short term and long term. So we can check the health of our internal organs through pulse and tongue analysis as well. Tracking patterns can lead us to discover the root cause of dis-ease and herb and food choices that don't and do work well with us for our body, mind, and spirit, both short term and long term. Um, and then there's the notes page on each section of the journal. Each day you have your morning checklist, the analysis, and then your food page, and then a notes page. So each day you have an option to write down some notes about what you're experiencing in those symptoms, maybe just like your dreams, maybe just something for journaling that day. So going on to the next page, talk about the gunas, the doshas. The three primary gunas you've probably heard about in yoga is sattva, tamas, and rajas. Um, and then the three main doshas, vata, pitta, kapha. Um, and they are related to an imbalance within the gunas, right? So the gunas can lead to an imbalance in the doshas, which cause imbalance in the health and then create symptoms. So the gunas, there are three fundamental qualities that exist in everything. Sattva is represents the calmness, like the purity, that kind of like what we're reaching for with yoga, with a sattvic diet, healthy balancing foods. The second, rajasic, is really representing action, agitation, turbulence. I mean, we experience all three of these, sattva, rajas, and tamas, but rajas would be like, rajasic food might be like spicy, like creates like action in the gut, and rajasic energy might be like somebody who likes to work out a lot or something like that. Tamas or tamasic energy represents density, inertia, and substance. So it can be like really heavy, like really lethargic, procrastination. So there are three biological humors that make up the human body: vata, pitta, kapha. Those are the doshas. So there's three doshas, and we'll go into those more. But the dosha of air is vata. That's related to movement and communication. The dosha of fire is pitta, and that's associated with metabolism and transformation. And the dosha of water associated with structure, resistance, and lubrication. Don't worry, all of this information will come together, and it's important to understand and take the time to learn these things. And if you don't understand it yet, if it's still feeling like a second language, totally normal. It will all come together soon. In addition to the three primary gunas, Ayurveda recognizes 20 subgunas that describe more specific qualities of substances and experiences. And these 20 gunas are 10 pairs of opposites. So hot, cold, wet, dry, heavy, light, gross, subtle, dense, flowing, static, mobile, dull, sharp, soft, hard, smooth, rough, cloudy, clear. 10 pairs of opposites is a wonderful tool that we use, um, that it came from studying nature. And Ayurveda observed these 10 main op, 10, main 20 qualities, 10 pairs of opposites within nature, within every element combination, which we also find within ourselves, within our bodies, within our digestion, within our mind, within our spirit. Um, if we have too much of one guna, we can use the opposite. The reason why it's the opposite is like if we have too much hot, we can use the opposite to balance, which is cold. The most Ayurvedic thing that people already practice and do is like when it's cold outside, what do? You put on a jacket, right? When it's hot outside, what do? You take clothes off, you try to cool yourself down. Maybe you're naturally inclined to drink cooler beverages. But again, Ayurveda is not a one size fits all. Everybody is very unique. So the elements within you are different than the elements within me. So what balances me might not be what balances you. And so these are really great printouts that I created in here for to understand each dosha, vata, right? It's the element of air and space. And it gets here's a list of when it's balanced, the locations in the body, when it's imbalanced. And the same thing for pitta and kapha. Moving on to the next page after that is the dosha clock. So, understanding that each time a day is related to Ayurveda, which is related to a combination of elements in nature, everything's related to nature. So, between the hours of 2 to 6 a.m. and p.m. is Vata, 6 to 10 a.m. and p.m. is Kapha, and 10 to 2 a.m. and p.m. is Pitta. I did notice one typo in this book, so if you've already purchased it, this is a great time for you to just write down this little typo. On the dosha clock page where it talks about vata, that first page with the information, it says waking during the vata hours of 2 to 4 a.m. can help you avoid the second wind of fatigue that often accompanies kapha time. That's a typo. It needs to be between 4, you can put 2 to 6 a.m., but really waking between 4 to 6 a.m. That would be the time frame for vatas to wake up, because if they sleep past that 6 a.m. mark and move into the kapha time frame, because kapha is 6 to 10 a.m. Kapha is the elements of water and earth, so it's a lot like mud, it's heavier. So you notice, like, if you wake up, really early, you have a lot of energy, but if you fall back asleep and you're in that kapha time and you wake up at 8 or 10 a.m., you're groggy and it's hard to wake up. That's because it's the kapha time. So that's the one typo. It says 2 to 4 a.m., but it's really just the vata time, where it says right above it 2 to 6 a.m. But I like to say vatas wake up between 4 to 6 a.m. because who wants to wake up at 2 a.m.? Nobody. I mean, I don't. Maybe you do. That's cool. That's cool. I don't, no judgment. That's great. But I don't. I'm a single mom and I don't really want to wake up to it. But a lot of times, if I do try to practice meditation and be mindful about, um, you know, the time of day is related to a specific organ and, things like that. Morning routines for vatas, rise early, rise before the sun to harness the vatas lightness, meditation and mindfulness to cultivate a steady, calm mindset, engage in light yoga to kind of waken the body without overstimulating. And then, it gives a good evening routine as well as the pitta. It gives you a good pitta morning and evening routine, as well as the dosha for kapha, morning and evening routine. So if you're interested in those details, go and purchase the book. You can go deeper into that. Now, it does go into the doshas and the 3 seasons. However, it says, I guess this is actually another typo. Technically, there are 3 seasons that we study normally, right? I'm sorry, 4 seasons. Why does it say 3 seasons? That's another typo that I need to write that down. So sorry. Um, There's actually, you'll see there's 6 here. So it's doshas in the 6 seasons. So we usually study, summer, fall, winter, spring. But in Ayurveda, it recognizes 6 seasons. And so you're kind of, if you notice, your body kind of goes through a transformation every 3 months, whether that's with hormones or weight, your blood is really what's transforming. And that affects every channel in the body and all of the secretions and the lubrication, right? For every system. So if you're interested in the 6 seasons, please ignore the 3 seasons up there. Clearly there are 6 and it goes into the details as well as the Sanskrit names for them. You can look at that. But more importantly, to go into, again, it says 3 seasons in doshas. The seasons and the 3 doshas is what I think I meant. I think my dyslexia kind of came into play here. The seasons and the 3 doshas. So it just kind of gives you an overplay of like your basic 4 seasons, summer, autumn, winter, spring. You can see that like summer is the very pitta energy. Autumn is a very vata as well as winter. Winter is still vata as well as kapha. The spring is very much kapha, but then moves into that summer pitta. Anyways, moving on to the more important things I want to talk about in this video, the tongue map. So when you're doing the analysis, the journal entry pages, which I kind of want to go over before I go into any more educational teachings. So here are what the journal pages, look like. The morning checklists, they're just like little pictures that like, okay, I check that off, check that off. The list of the gunas, so the 20 gunas, 10 pairs of opposites. So right now you go, okay, gunas, I feel right now, that's what it says. And it lists the gunas. So then you circle which ones you're currently feeling. And then right below that box, it says gunas to favor. So if you're feeling too heavy right now, then you would favor the opposite. So you would look over at the opposite and, sorry, I'm getting work notifications. And you would look over at the opposite and write, okay, I'm going to favor, if I'm too hot, I'm going to favor cold. I'm feeling too, maybe my pee was really, I noticed it was too cloudy or dark, right, this morning, right? So maybe I need to favor more clear. So you would just kind of guess your best that you can right there. Of course, having a consultation or an appointment with somebody that does Ayurveda, someone like me or another Ayurvedic practitioner, can be very helpful to help you to determine, like, if you're stuck on a question with this, or to determine the best route to take when you do find the imbalance and you're looking for more balanced options. Anyways, moving forward, the box under that is the tongue analysis, which we're about to go into on the next educational pages. And then, today's affirmation and gratitude. It's always nice to, even when we're going through hard times, even when we're going through heartbreak, even when we're going through depression or dark times, it's not like we have to fake it and only be happy, but pull in some type of frequency that is of a positive energy. Because when we can shift into that higher state of operating into a higher vibration, we can manifest higher vibrational things. Okay. And then below that box, your main issues and concerns, whether that's with your digestion, emotional well-being, pains, physical, emotional pains in the body, whatever it may be. Under that, a box for elimination, pee and poop. So you can write down the time, the consistency, the smell, etc. We're going to go into that briefly as well. And then your pulse analysis with a little notes box, a little notes page right here, but don't worry, there's another larger notes page you'll see in just a moment. So you just kind of go into the little details there. And again, in just a moment, I'll teach you the educational pages on how to do those examinations on yourselves, how to analyze your pulse, your tongue, your poop, your pee. But it's really important. The nutrient tracker. This isn't about counting calories. This has nothing to do with that from Ayurveda. It's about, we want to know what you ate. What are the ingredients? Because we study the doshas related to you, right? The gunas related to you. They're also related to the food you're eating. So your food can be a dosha. Your food can be a guna. And so we can balance your digestion and your overall health and well-being by studying your food and making maybe additions or changes. So you write down breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, fluid intake. This indicate, all fluid intake. Okay. Don't hold back. Be honest. Right here it has the 6 main tastes: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, astringent, pungent. Those are the 6 main tastes we study. Taste to favor, if you're unsure of the taste to favor for your health, just write down the taste maybe that you're favoring. Understand that the opposite, again, in Ayurveda, balances. So if you are, for example, this would be something you would go over in a consultation. If you are having sticky, heavy poop that's sticking to the toilet when you flush, and it's like really heavy, and you're feeling like swollen in the hands and the feet, and you're feeling really puffy, and there's a lot of stagnation happening in the body, you would not want to have a lot of like sweet foods, for example. You would want to increase bitter or astringent in taste. That would be a taste to favor. Okay. So that's just an example. And if you're unsure on what to put there, then, that would be a good time to reach out to an Ayurvedic healthcare practitioner, or just continue to track your symptoms to understand over time what you would need. Going to the next page is just a simple notes page. Okay, so let's go back to the tongue map. So on our journal, the page goes into the tongue map. It gives you, and this is a color in chart. So, you find circle 1, the location on the tongue is circle 1. It's right here. That's related to the sweet taste. That's where you taste sweet. And you color it in pink. So it's really a color in chart. I made it for a kid's book, but I added it in here too. But there's a tongue map on the next page as well. And that now is related to the organs. So you'll see like on the tongue, according to Ayurveda, of course, Chinese medicine can differ. The lungs would be located on the front, on the sides, and then the heart and the stomach and the pancreas in the middle, liver, spleen, kidneys, intestine. But more importantly, on the next page, when examining your own tongue, you ask yourself the following questions. Is there a coating? What color is the coating? Are there cracks? Where is the location? How deep? Is it inflamed? Is the tongue red? Is it puffy? Are there teeth indents? And these are all the things you write down in a little box on your page that says, tongue analysis. Going to the next page, pulse analysis. This is something that you should be highly trained in to understand, but let's make it very simple. So you'll say that one page is for women and one page is for men. Okay, but you use 3 different fingers. Let me put my microphone on myself so I can show you. You use 3 fingers to check the pulse. Your index finger For women, you take your right hand and you're feeling your left wrist. So the index finger is related to Vata, your middle finger is related to Pitta, and your ring finger is related to Kapha. So they're all related to each dosha. And the Vata pulse, now even though the index finger, this is where it gets confusing, please don't worry if you don't understand this part. Just because this is the Vata finger, Vata pulse can feel like fast, cold, feeble, light, thin, disappears on pressure, and moves like a cobra. The Pitta pulse, because Pitta is very fiery, can be like prominent, strong, hot, forceful, lifts up the palpitating finger and moves like a frog. The Kapha, remember, and heaviness can be deep, slow, broad, wavy, thick. The reason why I'm saying this is because if you feel in your middle finger, even though it says that's the Pitta finger, if you feel heaviness and dullness, like a Kapha type of pulse in the middle finger, that's important to know because each finger is related to an organ, depending on how deep you press into the pulse. There's a whole, this is like years of studying to understand and learn this. This is a very basic introduction for you to use this notebook. And don't worry about it being accurate. Just do your best. It's not a big deal. Usually, if you have all of these different areas of examining, something ties together and you can get a clear understanding of what's happening in the body. Go to the next page because it says using the left arm for women. So you use the left wrist, feeling the left wrist for women and feeling the right wrist for men for the pulse analysis. The left hand, okay, so if you're doing the left side for women, on the left, using the left hand, the superficial layer, when your hand is feeling for the pulse, superficial means not pressing very deep, okay? That's related to, on the index finger, the small intestine, the middle finger, the stomach, the ring finger, the bladder. Okay, when you press deep into the layers, it's related to the index finger is the heart, the middle finger is the spleen, the ring finger is the kidney. So if you're pressing deep into the left hand, the deep, and you feel in the ring finger, which is related to the kidney, a strong, high, fast pulse, that would say that's Pitta in the kidney. Okay, so there may be inflammation in the kidney, overworking, excess heat going on in the kidney, right? Something happening in the kidney. So take some time to study over that. And then the next page goes over the right hand. So if you want to know the details of using the right wrist, like feeling for the right wrist, and I'm not saying that because you're a woman, you can't feel the right wrist. You can feel both right and left, and those organs will still apply. It's just for basic analysis, self-analysis. If you're a woman, your right hand reaches across and feels for the left wrist. If you're a man, your left hand reaches over and across to the right wrist, okay? Using 3 fingers right underneath that little bone from the wrist, okay? And you'll feel the pulse. And then it goes into a sample Vata grocery list, winter, spring, summer, fall, just sample ingredients to purchase from the store for that grocery list. And it goes over, for Pitta, Kapha, each season for each dosha. It's very simple. And, you can even make your own notes in it of additional things you want. And then it goes into the journal pages. There's some extra things I wanted to go over. 2 other things I made some notes on. Let's talk about poop, the stool analysis before I have to go and pick up my son from school. So when you're studying your poop, there's some things to address and to understand. You can understand a lot about your health by simply understanding your poop. The time and the frequency. You want to aim to poop in the morning within an hour of waking up. Anything beyond that might be considered constipation, but let's look deeper into it. If you do have constipation, you're gonna wanna fix that. Hydrate. Eat warming spices like ginger and black pepper. Maybe take a laxative, something like triphala herbs. Okay, triphala, really great. Okay. Frequency of bowel movements. If you're having too much bowel movements, frequent bowel movements, then reduce oils in your diet. Reduce spices, reduce stress, and start eating soothing foods. The color of your stool. The normal color would be like a cinnamon brown. That is healthy digestion. Yellowish in your stool would indicate a fast transit time, or fatty stool. That might indicate a weak liver or a weak pancreas, okay? If you are drinking a lot of ice water and guzzling down ice water, this can shut down the way your pancreas is producing bile. When you're eating food, which creates your food to sit in the stomach for a longer period of time, and then your pancreas might produce bile later on, and then you might have this yellow buildup. Okay, so in Ayurveda, we don't like drink cold water. We usually drink like warm room temperature, or usually warm water, to stimulate digestion. Moving on, green color is quick bowel transit time, or just green veggies. Black or dark brown stool would be GI dryness or even possible bleeding. Red or flesh blood in the stool could indicate, obviously, colon bleeding. Foul smell, you should have a normal smelling stool. If it's foul, that could indicate toxicity or fermentation. So detox with khichdi, 3-day khichdi cleanse, um, triphala or other herbs. The texture of your stool, if it's sticky, that can indicate toxicity, so consider a detox. If it's liquidy, that could indicate irritation or inflammation, so cool it down. If it's muddy, that could indicate excess fermentation, so adjust the gut bacteria. If it's clay-like, that could indicate a bile deficiency, so eat bitters and sour foods and tastes. If it's cracked or pellet, obviously that's dryness, that's constipation. So increase oily, hydration. Pencil thin would means the colon is inflamed. If it's smooth and well formed, that's obviously ideal. The quantity, large, frequent, huge, large, frequent could mean poor nutrient absorption. Keep in mind this also goes for children. So go for like soups and stews and digestive herbs in their foods. And then I just want to hit over the seasons real quick. A few other foods in the seasons, in the winter, in the fall, foods to build resilience might be lemons, miso, cooked apples, and ghee, butternut squash, sweet potatoes, beets, almonds, chyawanprash, which is an herbal jam, an Ayurvedic herbal jam with a bunch of different herbal blends in it, and ashwagandha. Again, please consult an herbalist or an Ayurvedic practitioner like myself that has proper professional educational training on Ayurveda and herbs. In the springtime, dry kapha, dry kapha pacifying diet. So favor bitters, reduce kapha by having like a dry diet. Barley, corn, ginger, turmeric, dandelion, arugula, triphala. You really want to avoid the heavy, sweet, oily, salty red meat and dairy in the springtime, because your body's trying to get rid of that winter thickness. In the summer, that pitta time, you want to have a pitta kapha pacifying diet. So favor the cold, astringent foods, avoid sour, avoid alcohol, avoid fermented foods in the summer. Favor bitters, endives, pomegranates, kale, cranberries, cucumbers, grapes, milk. So those are the notes that I have for you there. That's a little bit of information. Again, these pages go on and on. So this is like a good 60 days of you are able to track this. It's available on Amazon. I hope that you enjoy. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. My email, I'll post it below with a link to my website and to my email and to the book. Thank you so much. If you need an Ayurvedic consultation, please reach out. Again, use this. If you're a doctor, healthcare professional, use this for your clients. It's a total game changer. Easy to track, organization, education. It's what you need. Have a great day. Namaste.